السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان لكم رقيبا يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد إن أصدق حديث كتاب الله عز وجل وأحسن الحديث حديث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر أمور محدثاتها وكل محدث في الإسلام بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise and thanks belong to Allah and Allah alone. We praise Him and we extol Him. We send the finest of salutations, ala Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Where the most truthful of speech is the book of Allah Ta'ala, Quran al-Majid. And the finest guidance of the Quran is that of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the most evil of affairs are the newly invented ones, bid'ah, innovation. And every newly invented matter in Islam is going astray. And every going astray leads to the hellfire. That's al-afiyah wa thabat. As what follows, my dear Taste Eeman, today, during this auspicious day of Jummah, alhamd, I would like to speak about the importance of being a genuine Muslim in word and deed. Wallahi tawfiq. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lies our success. As always, in my speech or in my khutbahs or my sermons, I like to speak something which we can all relate to. And bidnillah, for starters, this week I went to, in keeping with the spirit of this season, which we're all in, and we're all fully aware of in this part of the world. For starters, this week I went to the Walmart to do some shopping with some of my family members. And as is my habit, I always like to keep some change in my pocket for whenever I happen to go to whether Shoppers Drug Mart or Walmart, because there's always somebody who's begging in the front. So I don't like to pass by the beggars and not give them something. This is my habit that I like to do. Alhamd. Some people, they want to judge and say, yeah, akhi, they're going to use it to buy alcohol, khamr. Allah knows best. I know what my intention was forgiving. I needed change for the cart, the shopping cart. And as it so happens, I only had small change. I only had 3 dimes in my pocket, some loonies and toonies. I asked a lady who was also getting a cart, can you give me a quarter for these 3 dimes? She said, no, take the quarter and keep your dimes. It's Christmas, she said. I said, no. I insisted. Keep the 3 dimes and give me the quarter. She also insisted, and we went back and forth. She said, no, it's Christmas, it's the holidays, and we're supposed to be kind during this time of year. I kept the quarter and I went on my way. And I thought that this is an excellent topic for the Jummah khutbah, alhamdulillah. As we all know, that the people of the book, the Ahl Kitab, in this part of the world specifically, they deem that this season is a special season. They feel within themselves highly spirited during this time of year. They feel that this is a much more festive time of year, a time of giving, a time of generosity and kindness. Why? They revolve all of this around it being a spiritual or highly spiritual time of year. Although they know, if we were to speak to any one of them, they know, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is all fake. It's all make-believe. There isn't one of them that don't know that Isa ibn Maryam was not born on the coming December 25th. All of them know this. They know this, especially now since the advent of the internet. There isn't any Christian who does not know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the Christmas tree has nothing to do with spirituality or Christianity or anything to do with religion. Hanging a mistletoe has nothing to do with the coincidence of love. they know that none of these things, Santa Claus, and any of those things that are attributed to this time of year, has anything to do with religion, namely Christianity. As they put slogans up, let's put the Christ back into Christmas. All kalam fadi. They know that it's not true. They know that nothing that happens and takes place during these days of Christmas has anything to do with religion. And they know, from doing just a small bit of research, that it has everything to do with paganism. And we know that as soon as Boxing Day comes around, they're going right back to their old ways up until New Year's, and then they have the sham piety again by making a sham New Year's resolution to lose weight, to stop drinking, to stop cheating on their wife, to stop smoking, and the list goes on and on and on. Alhamdulillah, this is the truth and this is the reality that we Muslims, we see and we pity them. We pity the people of the book. But we go along with it and they say, Merry Christmas, we say, yeah, Sheikh, we say, what should we say? We say Happy Holidays. Can we say, is it okay, is it permissible? Can we say Happy Holidays? We're asking for fatwa about these things, about the smallest things, the minutest things we split hair about. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And on the other side of the coin, and we need to be real and truthful with ourselves as Muslims, while we're pitying the people of the book for following a sham and made up holiday season, and we know it's all about making money. We, as Muslims, we were in the streets not too long ago, and we're sending WhatsApp messages not too long ago. We were in the streets protesting the atrocities and the genocide for those people who are supporting Israel not too long ago. We were getting messages, we're being bombarded with messages. It wasn't that long ago. That there's a protest happening in front of Mississauga, in front of Times Square, there's protest happening downtown, not too long ago. You should come, brother. People were arguing, Yaqi, this is not the Sunnah, Yaqi, this is Bid'ah, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. We're getting a list of products that we should boycott, not too long ago, because they support genocide. It wasn't that long ago. It's as if we've forgotten what's happening in other parts of the world. We said, no, this is such a short-lived piety, my dear Mashallah the Imam. We need to be real as Muslims. We have to stop being bandwagon Muslims, or as I like to call it, WhatsApp warriors. We hardly do anything to contribute to Islam in our lives. A lot of us, ma'asaf shadid, may Allah keep us safe, have children who are involved deeply in all kinds of acts that I'm ashamed to mention on the minbar. But we're WhatsApp warriors when we're hearing about things on CNN and what's happening in other parts of the world. My dear Muslim Iman, prior to what was going on in the Gaza Strip, with the atrocities that was taking place, namely to the women and the children, it was described as an open-air concentration camp. It's been like that for a year, for decades. But you don't hear anything about it. We've never heard anything about it. Little or nothing about it. But then, when the pressure was put on, we have WhatsApp warriors sending messages. But there was a small time when there were encampments outside of university campuses. Now what's going on? It wasn't that long ago. And now we're right back to buying those products, which were all on the list that we should boycott because they're supporting genocide. Muslims were in line to buy the latest iPhone 15 or 16 when it dropped. Muslims were the first in line to buy the latest iPhone, knowing that it supports Israel, the state of Israel, and genocide. We all received the list. Muslims are right there again buying Tim Hortons, coffee, double. Right there again at Starbucks, buying the pumpkin spice latte. Muslims every day, at every campus and every corner. Those who are pious, they don't want to be caught inside, but they go through the drive-thru and buy it. Who are we fooling? Really and truly, who are we fooling? Who are we trying to fool? We're behind the screen sending WhatsApp messages as if we're so pious. But when the last time you seen those same WhatsApp warriors in the masjid? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Laysa minna." You're not one of us who goes to bed with his belly full and their neighbor is hungry. We have a serious issue, my dear Mashallah. We need to be real Muslims. Who do we believe that we're really trying to fool? Who are we trying to fool? The people in the Gaza Strip are still suffering. They're still suffering. And they've always been suffering. And they don't need our pity. Talk is cheap. They don't need our pity. We send pennies for them. They don't need it. Make dua for them. The ones who are killed and persecuted, they are shaheed. Make dua for them. They're way better than us. So we like to sit in the coffee shop and criticize them. Why did they let the Yahudi in the first place? We like to talk. And then we get a WhatsApp message. We want to send it out and hold up a flag and put on the Palestinian clothes as if we're supporting Palestine. Or we're doing our part, brother, for only a minute, for only a second. And then what? We've gone right back to our mundane lives. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. My dear Mashallah the Imam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's refuge is sought. We're poking fun and we're making istihza. We're mocking and laughing at the Yahud and Nasara because they don't know. They don't know any better. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What do we know? We are resembling them in so many ways by believing and deeming ourselves better than everybody else. We need to be true Muslims in word and deed. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We need to be of those who, when the remembrance of Allah is mentioned, it brings a joy, it brings a trembling in our hearts. We have to be people of substance and piety inside and outside of Ramadan. When the war is taking place and when the wars are not taking place, we need to be Muslims of substance all year round. We have the same type of disease where we become so jovial and highly spirited in Ramadan. We have seen it. Brothers are waiting for the adhan of Maghrib and they make iftar with the cigarette. I said, brother, why don't you say Bismillah before you light the cigarette? Why don't you say Bismillah? They look at me as if I'm asking them a riddle. They know that it's haram. So why don't we look to the source of why we feel we have to smoke? I don't smoke, and I don't know the cost of cigarettes, but imagine how much it costs for a person to buy 1 or 2 packs or 3 or 4 packs a week when they could use that money and give to those who are in need, whether it's here or overseas, but we're wasting it in a puff of smoke. And we're smoking and we're talking about the problems in the Middle East, the issues in Africa, and we're smoking while speaking about other people's issues. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. My dear Mashallah the Imam, Islam is not about sensationalizing things. Become a sensationalized Muslim. We get emotional and we start to talk about things without anything. There isn't anything behind it. My dear Mashallah the Imam, Islam is something which comes from the Quran and the Sunnah. It's not about our own made-up imagination. Something we watch or we get a message. We didn't even read it. We want to start forwarding it. We start forwarding it. So we become now a WhatsApp warrior. We don't know what it is. Allah, He talks about the importance of attaching ourselves to the Quran and Sunnah on the fahm of the self of this ummah, upon the understanding of those who came before us, the pious predecessors, the ones who followed in the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions and those who followed them. Allah says, إِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدِ اهْتَدَوْا إِنْ تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ. If we have Iman the way they had Iman, if and when we believe the way they believe, فَقَدِ اهْتَدَوْا, and we have been guided, all right. But if we turn away, then we are the ones who are in misguidance. I've gotten these messages all the time. Muslims come to me and we're looking, we're searching. Ya Sheikh, Ya Imam, is it permissible to boycott these products? Is it permissible to do demonstrations in the streets? We ask these questions. At the same time, we don't have any concern about our khamsa salawat. We rarely pray on time. The majority of the time, we are trying to make up qaza, join our prayers and make up. But we're asking about protesting in the streets and boycotting products. And you must say, man, talk is cheap. We keep on talking and talking and talking. And who are we trying to fool? Islam is something which is strange. It comes with a strangeness. And the noble Sheikh, Imam al-Awza'i, he said that Islam will not disappear, but the people of the Sunnah, they will begin to disappear until you'll find only one or two people in every country. And what supports this statement of the great Imam of the Sunnah, Imam al-Awza'i, is what the Prophet ﷺ had stated. He said, hey Muslim, and for Abu Radun Anhu, who said that the Prophet ﷺ said, Bada Islam gharib, فَسَيَعُودَ غَرِيب كَمَا بَدَى أَتُوبَ لِغُرَبَى. That Islam began as something strange, and it will return again to be something strange. And Tuba, this tree in paradise, is for those strangers. And the meaning of this Bada Islam Ghariba is that the wording is suggesting that it began with a few people doing strange type of worship and acting in an abnormal manner in the community. Al-Ghuraba are those people who are strange amongst their people. They're not acting, they're not performing, not doing things in conformity to the society or societal norms. Like in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, he began at one or two people. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, what did he do? He's one of the first people to embrace Islam. He started to use his money to free slaves. Who did he free? Bilal ibn Rabah. Because Abu Bakr was of high status, they couldn't touch him. But Bilal ibn Rabah was a former slave. They freed him. But he used to say, Ahad was against the norm. He was persecuted. Sumayya, the first shaheed of Islam, showed her Islam. She was speared in her private parts, martyred. The Prophet said, Asbir Ahl Yasir, be patient. What's the reward? Jannah. Fast forwarding to these times that we're living in. Fast forward to this day and age. We have Muslims here are mainly lip service Muslims. What are we doing for Islam in our lives? What are we doing to show our Islam within ourselves, within our families? What are we doing to show Islam with our neighbors? My dear Pastor Iman, the Prophet said that Islam in the last days will be like holding onto hot coals, which means talk is cheap. We cannot talk Islam in these days. To hold on to Islam, we need to show and prove our commitment to the deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be real, committed Muslims in word and deed. Bismillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. As I said before, my dear Taste Eeman, that we need to come to grips with ourselves and stop looking down on our brothers and sisters, Muslim brethren, who are struggling in other parts of the world. We need to be Muslim of substance. As I mentioned before, that many of us have become WhatsApp warriors. Whenever situations take place in other parts of the world, my dear Taste Eeman, we need to understand that Islam requires people of commitment. We need Islam. Islam does not need us. I've said this before, and I'll say this again, that Islam is not a birthright. Islam is not a birthright. Islam is something of practice and implementation. We Western Muslims, we love talking about Islam. We love talking about the problems of Muslims in other parts of the world. Only for a minute, for a brief time, we get emotional about what's happening and start forwarding WhatsApp messages. We know what's happening with our Muslim brethren in Burma, in Kashmir, in the Gaza Strip. We see atrocities. The genocide has taken place for those Muslims. We see what's happening with our Muslim brethren in Sudan. Now wintertime in Afghanistan. The Muslim brothers and sisters over there, they need us to be practical by sending them blankets. Sending them blankets. They need blankets to stay warm in the winter. The people in other parts of the world, they need what we have and we take for granted. We're blowing off in a puff of smoke. My dear Taste Eeman, we all know that Islam began with a few individuals. Then it spread and prevailed all over the world with a Muslim brotherhood founded upon taqwa, piety, taqwa Allah, the brotherhood of correct aqidah and manhaj. But we Western Muslims are living in humiliation. Many of us are living in humiliation without realizing it, and while deeming ourselves to be affluent and successful and believing that we are blessed. Let's end our khutbah with one hadith. The Sahih of Imam Bukhari, an authority of Ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn Khattab. He said, I heard the Mashallah saying, إذا تبعتم بالعينة وأخذتم بأذناب البقر رضيتم بزرع وتركتم الجهاد صلت الله عليكم ذل لا ينزعه حتى ترجعوا إلى دينكم. أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. If you transact in عينة, a type of riba contract, and follow the tails of cows by being content with agriculture and abandoning the various types of jihad, Allah will send upon you a disgrace and humiliation that He will not be removed until we return back to our deen. My dear Taste Eeman, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us to be real Muslims in word and deed. And how we're going to achieve this is by following the aqid and manhaj of those who came before us, named the Salaf and As-Salih. May Allah have mercy on our brothers and sisters who are struggling in the Gaza Strip. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our brothers in the Bilad al-Sham. May Allah bless our brothers in Syria, Damascus, who established, may Allah make it easy for them to establish a good, authentic, pure Islamic government. Ameen. Allah help our brothers and sisters who are struggling in Sudan. Allah help our brothers and sisters who are struggling in Afghanistan, in Kashmir, in كل مكان يا رب العالمين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا الذين آمنوا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة.